أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبا القاسم محمد عليه وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، روح وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين منذ آدم إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال تعالى في محكم التنزيل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allah Azza wa Jal says in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 40, O children of Israel, call to mind my favor which I bestowed on you, and be faithful to your covenant with me. I will fulfill my covenant with you, and of me alone, should you be afraid. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. After we have established that Allah Azza wa Jal communicates and interacts with us and the entire cosmos through divine laws which He has put into place for governing existence, and after establishing just a few of these laws, and understanding that Allah Azza wa Jal interacts with us and His interactions with us are a result of our interactions with these laws, and that all of these laws submit to the universal law of cause and effect. And after establishing last night that the victory of Allah Ta'ala will only come to us after the condition of moving towards this victory is met, and after bringing victory to Allah Azza wa Jal, we come to the law of divine intervention. When does Allah Azza wa Jal intervene? When does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get involved personally? This is a question that we ask all the time. And it's not just the Muslims who ask this question, everyone asks this question. When you see injustice going on around the world, when you see there are children dying of starvation, when you see poverty running rampant, when you see tyrants butchering those who are under their rulership, people ask, where is God in all of this? Where is Allah Azza wa Jal? When does He get involved? When does He save the believers? When does He jump in? And how does He jump in? The verse that we open up with, Allah Azza wa Jal is speaking to Banu Israel, the children of Israel. And we find in the Holy Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal, most of the examples He gives about Banu Israel because they received a great amount of bounty from Allah Ta'ala. Many prophets, over 124,000 prophets, the overwhelming majority of them came from them and for them. Many of the miracles in the Holy Quran, many of the signs that Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about in the Holy Quran came for them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah, He is reminding them that, O children of Israel, remember the bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal and remember His favor. Call to mind my favor which I bestowed on you, and be faithful to your covenant. Ya Bani Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم. and be true to your covenant with me, and only then will I be true to my covenant with you. We said yesterday that the covenant, that victory is a covenant that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us. He made it an obligation on Himself. He promised and made it wajib and said, I will give you this victory. Definitely I will give it to you. You do what you need to do, and the result is up to me. I promise you this result. But there are conditions. There are conditions for this divine intervention. And the first condition is that we remember the bounty that Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed upon us. This remembrance, and in another verse Allah Azza wa Jal expands even more. He says to us, He says, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Therefore remember me, I will remember you. And be thankful to me and do not be ungrateful. To remember the bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal is to in fact remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the greatest bounty that Allah Ta'ala gave us, and the bounty which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends in this verse, is the bounty of hidayah, the bounty of guidance. It is the greatest gift that Allah Azza wa Jal gave to us. The most sacred gift and the most valuable gift that Allah Azza wa Jal gave to us is the religion of Muhammad wa al-Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. He gave us this gift as a divine guide to eternal salvation. He said to us, if you want to save yourselves from eternal damnation, then hold on to this rope. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. And this rope, according to the mufassirin of the Quran, who are the speaking Quran, is Muhammad wa al-Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. This is the greatest gift that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed upon us. So in order for me to initiate Allah Azza wa Jal's direct involvement in my affairs, whether it be in my direct affairs, my personal affairs, or in the affairs on a global scale, on an outward scale, the first condition is that I am thankful and I remember this bounty that Allah Azza wa Jal. And when we say thankful, when we say remember, we're not talking about lip service. We're not talking about lip service. We're not talking about just simply saying thank you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us in other parts of the Holy Quran that to be thankful is the opposite of being a disbeliever. Imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Yeah? You are either thankful or you are a disbeliever. So being thankful here is way beyond and deeper than lip service. Just thank you, Ya Allah, for Islam. No. This thankfulness needs to be an active appreciation. This active appreciation means that I need to use this bounty that Allah Azza wa Jal gave me to its fullest extent and to the fullest of my capabilities and my capacity. Meaning, if I want to thank Allah Azza wa Jal for Islam, for the Quran, for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, for the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam, then I need to live Islam and the Quran, and I need to live the Sunnah of the Holy Messenger and the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. I need to uphold them. This is appreciation. This is appreciation. And I need to do so despite the attitudes and the beliefs and the opinions of other people. This Quran of ours, this religion of ours, we need to be proud. You know, pride is for Allah Azza wa Jal. It's one of those attributes that Allah Azza wa Jal says to you, this is exclusively for me. Do not challenge me. The one who is proud, in a narration says, the one who is proud is the one who is challenging Allah Azza wa Jal. Because pride is for Allah only. However, when it comes to pride in your religion, we have a narration that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in one of the battles, after defeating one of the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal, and dealing a victorious blow, the Amir alayhi salam, he walks in a boastful manner towards the Holy Messenger. With his chest out and walking boastfully. And the companions, they come to the Holy Messenger and say, hey, look at this guy, look at your cousin. Any opportunity they could, any opportunity they could, these companions would go to the Holy Messenger and complain about Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. To the point where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi had to literally yell at them and say, leave him, let him be. What Ali does is right. And then he says, Ali ma'al haq wal haq ma Ali. Ali is with the truth and truth is with Ali. In this instance, they come to him, look at him. He's not humble. Look how he's walking boastfully. The Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi says, Allah Ta'ala hates pride. But He loves this walk. He loves pride in His religion. When you are proud for Allah Azza wa Jalla, when you are proud for Islam, this pride becomes something beautiful. And we should be proud of our religion. We genuinely, as Muslims, we sometimes fail to understand and appreciate the beauty of this deen that we have. So much so that we are sometimes embarrassed to propagate. And even with this lack of propagation that we have, we find people in droves coming to Islam. So imagine if we actually propagated. And we should be out there. One of the forms of shukr, one of the forms of being thankful is to speak to others about this bounty which you have been given. To tell others about it. To preach to others. Give them the solutions that Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed you with in the Holy Quran. And in the seerah of the Holy Messenger and the Imams alayhimus salatu wassalam. This is one of the major or one of the best forms of shukr. But we shy away. And I mentioned before, there are verses in the Holy Quran that we shy away from. We're afraid, we're embarrassed. This book, this divine book, this guide which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, which 124,000 prophets had come. Most of them died and suffered. Just to summarize, just to establish the coming of the Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, so he can present to us this holy book. We're embarrassed from some of its verses. We don't like to recite them because we're afraid of what other people might say, what other people might think. Like many aspects of my religion. There are some of us, inshallah, they're a minority, inshallah, and inshallah no one here. But so much of our commandments we place aside simply because we are embarrassed. I don't want to pray at work because I don't want the non-Muslim to see me. I'll leave my salat, I'll pray at qada later. Why? Because I don't want Josh and Jake and Margaret to look at me and say, oh, what you doing? Or make fun of me. I don't want them to mock my salat. My hijab, I find hijab embarrassing. Inshallah, as we said, the majority of sisters are not like this. There's a very small minority though. But we want to eradicate this philosophy. We want to instill pride in our religion. I don't want to wear hijab because I don't want to displease my boss, my colleagues, my friends, my counterparts, my neighbors. I don't want to propagate. In fact, not only do I not want to propagate, I take on the culture of the non-Muslim and I bring it into my home and into my life so that I may please him, and I try to justify it religiously. In a few months, the debate will erupt. Christmas tree or no Christmas tree? Right? And it is extremely unfortunate. And I often bring this example because we fail to understand the jurisprudential repercussions of performing such actions, the spiritual spiritual repercussions, and we also fail to understand the psychological repercussions of these things. First of all, jurisprudentially, and I leave this with you inshallah, and you remember it and bring it back up at the time of Christmas. Jurisprudentially, it is impermissible for us to encourage or advertise or promote Symbols of disbelief. And I don't think anyone here will argue that the Christmas tree is a symbol of disbelief. It represents a religion other than Islam. It comes from a religion other than Islam. It is a symbol of theirs. Yeah? Sha'airul kufr, it is impermissible for us to promote it. From a psychological perspective, what I'm doing is I am confusing the life out of my children who are already confused. You know, children, they're very soft. They're visual creatures. They absorb information through their senses, and they absorb it at a very intense rate when they are younger. So when they're seeing these things, these decorations, and us celebrating celebrations that aren't ours, in fact celebrating celebrations that are contradictory to ours, we are the religion of قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Allahu Samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad. But then when it is the Eid of Yalid wa Yulad, what do? Oh, but we love Isa alayhi salam on your own time. Go to the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Look for when the birth of Isa alayhi salam is. You love Isa, propagate the religion of Isa alayhi salam, which is the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. But we're too embarrassed. And we're always running after the pleasures of others. This is not the culture of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. This is not the culture of the Holy Quran. It's not the philosophy of the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran gave us guidelines on how to deal with Ahlul Kitab. Never once did the Holy Quran tell us to assimilate. In fact, the Holy Quran commands us and says to us that discuss with them, propagate to them, بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, maintaining a high standard of akhlaq. But the Quran pushes us towards this theological and intellectual engagement. And when we see the tradition of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, it's in the Holy Quran. The culture of Rasulullah is mubahala. This is the culture of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They went to Najran, they propagated Islam, they pointed out their fallacies, they debated with them, they argued with them. I'm not telling you to go out there bashing. No, I'm just saying that if you're going to engage Ahlul Kitab alayhim salam, ya billati hiya ahsan, you need to propagate your religion. We need to stop seeking their pleasures. Allah Azza wa Jal, very clear, and this is one of these verses that we don't like to propagate. One of these verses that we hide and we shy away from and we're embarrassed. And we don't even like to say it on our manabir, yeah, because we're too embarrassed to say it. We want to present this Islam which is more cooler on the eyes of the non-believer. And this particular verse in the Holy Quran, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ. If you know it, read it with me. وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. Lan, this lan in the Arabic language is different to lam. Lam means something has not happened yet. It may happen in the future. Lan, this noon in the end, Allah Azza wa Jal is promising you. He's telling you, it has not happened. It is not happening. It will never, ever, ever happen. They will never be pleased with you until you follow their creed. And by following the creed, Allah Azza wa Jal is not saying until you become the same religion as them. But no, until you become like them. Who is the Muslim that they love? Let's be honest. Who is the Muslim that they love? They love the Muslim that's okay with the drink. If he doesn't drink, at the very least, he'll sit down with them while they do it. The one that puts up these fancy and funky decorations during their celebrations. The one that will shake hands with his female worker. The one that will mix and have these ikhtilat gatherings. The one who's okay with an interest banking system. The one who's okay with Zionism. The one who's okay with this whole gender confusion culture. Basically this liberal Muslim. This is the Muslim they love, yeah? This is حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ, until you become exactly like them in everything. You like what they like. And you are displeased with what displeases them. Allah is telling you, even if you do all of this, they will never be pleased with you. So it's when I am thankful for this religion, actively thankful. And I am proud of this religion. So proud that I wear it on my sleeve. It's my dress code. It's my code of living. It's my standard. It's my constitution. It's my way of life. When I do this, Allah Azza wa Jal then says, then I will hold on to my covenant with you, which is victory. And this victory, I'm going to wrap it up very quickly. This victory is not going to come to you and I in the form of brimstone falling from the sky, or the flood of Nuh alayhi salam, or great earthquakes. No, this is not how Allah Azza wa Jal will intervene for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us examples in the Holy Quran. He says that this particular type of intervention, Allah Azza wa Jal uses it sometimes to do what? He uses it sometimes to as an ayah, as a proof that will support the mission of His prophets and awliya. But it's not a means to guide people. And He says to us, look what He says. Sallu ala Muhammad. He says, سَلْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ كَمْ آتَيْنَاهُمْ مِنْ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَةٍ وَمَنْ يُبَدِّلْ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَتْهُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Ask the Israelites, how many clear signs have we given them? And whoever changes the favor of Allah after it has come to him, then surely Allah is severe in requiting evil. Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling you, ask Banu Israel what I did for them. Look what I did for them. I made it rain pearls for them. I made it rain fire and brimstone on the enemies. I sent 7 plagues to Fir'aun. I saved them from Fir'aun by splitting the sea open. And when their feet were not even dried from crossing the ocean, they went and they worshipped a golden calf. They went to idol worship. Allah is telling you this, if your hearts are closed, all of these signs, they won't affect you. Nuh alayhi salam's son, not only was he the son of a prophet and saw the signs of his father, he witnessed the actual flood. He witnessed the rain. He saw his father embark on the ark and those with his father being saved. And he refused to jump on the ark. He said, I'll go to the highest mountain. Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying to you, no, this is not how I get involved. This will not benefit you if your heart is not working continuously in the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal internally, and the remembrance actively sharing and boasting about this religion that we have. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us amongst those who establish this religion in our hearts, in our families, in our communities, and eventually in the world, in remembrance of Him, spiritually, verbally, and actively, so that we may be amongst those who receive the direct intervention and bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the greatest of bounties, which is Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman, عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.